Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. By the English meaning from Surah Yusuf. O my sustainer, thou hast indeed bestowed upon me something of power, and hast imparted unto me some knowledge of the inner meaning of happenings. Originator of the heavens and the earth, thou art near unto me in this world and in the life to come. Let me die as one who has surrendered himself unto thee, and make me one of the righteous. This account of something that was beyond the reach of thy perception, we now reveal unto thee, O prophet, for thou wert not with Joseph's brothers when they resolved upon what they were going to do and wove their schemes against him. Yet, however strongly thou mayest desire it, most people will not believe in this revelation, although thou dost not ask of them any reward for it. It is but Allah's reminder unto all mankind. But then, how many men, or how many a sign, is there in the heavens and the earth which they pass by unthinkingly, and on which they turn their backs? And most of them do not even believe in Allah, without also ascribing divine powers to other beings beside Him. Do they not then feel free from the fear that there might fall upon them the overwhelming terror of Allah's chastisement, or that the last hour might come upon them of a sudden without their being aware of its approach? Say, O Prophet, this is my way resting upon conscious insight, accessible to reason. I'm calling you all unto Allah and those that followed me. Limitless is Allah in His glory, and I am not one of those who ascribe divinity to aught besides Him. Of course, this is one of our favorite, ayats from Surah Yusuf, or system of ayats, contained, of course, in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We know that there's, whether you see it in movies, whether you look in the Quran, Hadith, there's always references to shaitan, and in fact, there's only two parties in the world: Hizbu Shaitan and Hizbullah. There's only two parties in existence in the world for the human being. He's either a part of Hizbu Shaitan or Hizbullah, the party of God. You go to the movies and what have you, and you'll see that all the big mean characters in modern times are coming from the dark side, And the light side, so-called good side, sometimes shines through. But no matter what happens, no matter how far in the future they show these Star Treks and other movies, guess what people are doing? They're doing the same thing in the 21st century that they did in the 17th century, in the 5th century BC, and the same thing in Star Trek, way out in the future. Because the human being is blocked by possibilities of goodness. They feel that the dark side or the shaitani side will be here, or they don't understand it as shaitan and Allah, or Hizbul Shaitan, Hizbullah. Even those people who are non-believers recognize these forces in nature, but they are there. And over the period of time, they have succumbed to the belief. You can see it in movies and literature and everything they produce. They don't feel it's possible for the human being to be good. And they don't feel like that there's going to be a good outcome for the human being. They just don't feel that way. I don't care whether it's George Lucas, whether it's Spielberg or Weinberg, or all of them. You look at the end point of their movies. That's their thinking. And the people are drawing on that. I look at the stuff my kids be watching now, and it's a few years ago it was werewolves and all of that, and now it's zombies. I don't know what. Now, it ain't the old time zombies, they used to walk like this in the old 1930s and 40s movies. The zombies, that they looked like they was doing what we used to call in California, the Prolixin shuffle. That drug, the Prolixin. No, people would, hey man, I came back, I don't want to stray from the subject. I came back from overseas and I went to the LA County Jail. When I was gone, they didn't have all them old funny drugs when I left, or they wasn't popular. But by the time I got back, if you messed up in the jail, they'd put you on Prolixin, they'd put you on Thorazine and all of that. And the brothers was telling me, man, that stuff is so serious, they can put you in a minimum security joint and the fence could be this high and you can't climb it. And then if somebody was walking down the hall, they'd be walking like a zombie. And if you call him, hey, Brother Johnny, he'd turn all the way around like them old time zombies. What you want? He didn't just say, hey, man, what's going on? He didn't do that. He'd turn all the way around. And the way they was walking, they called it the Prolixin shuffle. In other words, it had its own distinct look and what have you. But in the meantime, they give those things to suppress the natural inclinations in the human being. In even the movies, they had one called The Gift or The Giver or something, and they had a little apple or something something when you wiped your hand on it when you went out the door, and that was your daily shot of nafs, protection against your nafs, that you wasn't going to do nothing against the rules because you had rubbed your hand, but it was a dystopian environment. It looked real nice, but everybody followed the rules and everybody didn't go beyond certain limits. They had where they lived, then they had the dark place way out there, the outer limits. That must have been where people did what me and you do all the time. Regular sin and regular fitna and all that stuff. When you look at all of what's presented in books and literature, we're presented with a picture, a dystopian view of the future, totally. A dystopian view, like, utopia, good place, dystopia, bad place. Well, what does it look like? Think about the movies you've been to, or you heard the Book of Eli. They walking all across the country trying to find something, and it wind up being some biblical stuff. But in the long run, the whole earth is all messed up. it's all messed up. It's dystopian. The great cataclysmic event happened, and it's got the people that survived, they hunting each other down, eating up the children, all kind of dumb stuff, right? This is, now you got to imagine, this is fed to the people. How many modern movies have a friendly ending, a good ending? The people ride off in the sunset happy. Not too many of them. No, they don't do that. If you do ride off in the sunset happy, you didn't have so much fitna, you didn't blew up so many buildings and got so much stuff happen to you that you almost deserved that little bit of 2 minutes of happiness. So it's dystopian. Everything is tragic. There's no good end. You know why? Because those people that make the movies, they don't believe in the good side of human beings. They sold on everything they've seen in all their history. All they read is, the timelines is based on wars. The War of 1812, the French Revolution, the War, this, right? The Civil. That's what everything, right? You remember the timelines when we was in school? All the timelines is based on, most of them is based on big wars. The bigger the war, the longer the timeline. That's what they based their whole history on, destruction. And the destruction is so grotesque. In America, they showed the Vietnam War on TV. Every night you came home from work, you'd see the people carrying each other. They had the press in Vietnam to show the public. That's what turned the people off. They was watching TV. They said, man, the people over there, them brothers got it bad. And they started protesting. And they kept it like that. You could see the war in Vietnam. But all the Gulf War and all of that, you couldn't see that on TV. They had learned. You can't. Now, you could see, the first time I saw dead American soldiers laying out in the newspaper was when I went overseas. They showed them dead troops and everything. The point is that we're living under very serious control, and we're at a point now to where we have to make a serious decision that we're at a transition period in life. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how we view that transition. First of all, if the United States of America wants to lead the world again, or be more popular and everything that it would like to be, that it said it was, it would have to, in order to save their so-called democracy, they're going to have to be a democracy. They've never been a democracy. We already went over what they do, this, that, and other. Even the Constitution, common defense, promote the general welfare, they haven't done none of that. They have not done any of that. So if the United States want to make a comeback, guess what it's going to have to do? It's going to have to do good. It's going to have to repent. It can do a game changer. What's the game changer? You want to be number one? You're not going to be number one in economy. You're not going to be that anymore. The Chinese have already knocked you. And then you done scared everybody else in the world. So the United States enforced the people of the world into blocks. You might have Iran, Iraq, Syria, Venezuela, Yemen, that's one block. You might have the Soviet Union floating around them, you know what I mean? They're giving them a little physical support. You may have, of course, you got the Zionists over there. The Zionists is telling the Americans what to do. That's what's so sad about it. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. The American people have to liberate themselves from the Zionist hold that those people got on them. And the Zionists are serious. Y'all done seen me with pictures of the rabbis and all of that? Look. Not only we know it, but the rabbis say, yeah, they would blow up a synagogue in Iraq to run all the people, the Jews, out of Iraq to the state of Israel. You know what I mean? Because remember, the Zionists don't care nothing about Jews. You know who they beating upside the head now in Israel more than anybody? The Jews, the ones that wear the pigtails and all that. They had deadly against them. And see, those crew, some of them lived in Israel already. A lot of them. They lived in Israel already during the period of Palestine. The Jews and the Muslims lived in harmony together. Those Jews that lived there with the Muslims before, the Orthodox Jews do not fight the Muslims because they don't believe in Zionism, and the Zionists are a political Nazi-type party. They're just like Nazis. Right. Now, they use Jews or Judaism, but don't none of them pray. They call them swine eaters, the Jews. And on the menu in Israel right now, you can find white steak on the menu at a big hotel. White steak, what's that? It's pork. You couldn't do it with them rabbis because the pork is haram. I mean, it's right. But with them, the Jews call them swine eaters. But anyway, we'll get back. The point is this, that the Israeli policy is the one that's driving the United States. And that means a small group of people are in such control of the world as it exists today that they make the United States do what they want them to do. That's why they used to hate poor Obama. Why they hate Obama? Why Netanyahu hate Obama? Because he was saying, hey, look, we're going to have, Jcpoa, something like that, joint conference. They signed that. And who hated it? Saudi Arabia hated it, and Netanyahu hated it. Really just hated it. So, soon as they put Don in power, now you got to remember, they put Donald Trump in power. We said it from day one. We didn't give all these details. We said somebody hired that man to destroy the Republican Party, to destroy America, right? But he didn't destroy it. The first thing he did said, move the embassy to Jerusalem, right? And they cooked up all them plans to destroy the Palestinians, right? So nobody got what they want out of the U.S. government except the Zionists. Let me go on. So in this new world we're talking about, this is a real deal. Okay. So technically, America can lead the way in this new world. But it cannot lead the way unless it repents. Now, this is a big, here's what we're saying. What we're saying, let's stop beating around the bush. What we're saying to the United States government. The other day, I was watching, we did a couple of programs with my nephew. We did a couple of programs with, from Iran. And you got to remember, the phone couldn't sit still without them calling me, right? They're the ones that had to, we got to do this. Then you don't hear nothing. Yesterday, my nephew called me and said, man, I said something about white folks on some program, and now they got stuff I said has went viral. They're making me a big person in the news, you know. I said, oh, that's just normal. I said, I knew when you called me that the government was going to do something, because they're the only ones can do that. You're unknown today, and everybody knows you tomorrow. I said, the United States government is the only one can do that. And then my homeboy from overseas, when the FBI was here, they said, these people are, are bad, and you can't, let's call it New Horizons, whatever. I said, those are your people. What are you talking about? So those are your people. So you got to remember, I guess people forget the last 10 or 15 years, what my friends, how they was treating me when I was coming to Iran. It was totally different than 30 years ago, 40, 35, all the way back then. I was a hero. They were still calling me a hero, but they was treating me like a dowlet or something, like untouchable. And they was acting funny. Okay, when people act funny, I don't say, you acting funny, man, that show is cold. I don't say that. I very seldom say that. I just let everybody act the way they want to act. But I know what they're doing, and I know what it means. So the point is this. We call it, what do we call it, JOP or something else. We want to have this relationship with the United States government. First of all, we want you to pull back on us, and we'll sign let's call it a treaty. And the reason we'll call it the Jcpoa is because we know how you are about treaties, the USA. So we know, that's right. This is, yeah. We're saying, gotta understand, we're saying to the United States government, you may say, Imam Musa has been sending messages to the United States government for decades. This utopian view that I have of the world, that's been with me since 1970. Because by 1970, I was super rich, had everything that Negroes was just dreaming about, falling out of the bed about, drooling at the mouth. And I had more than, well, sometimes you could have so much money you don't even know what to do with it. But you still spread it around, and it helps the community. So I said, I got everything that they said was that niggas should have, and the police is doing this, the police is doing that. I said, this ain't no fun. I said, we got to have a better world than this. So believe it or not, this is when I came up in my mind with this better worldism, 1970, 50 years ago. But now all the other stuff that we went through since then was preparing us for this day right now. Why? Let me outline a few things. why is it all right or it's great to sign a treaty with me? I'm talking about me right now. Number one, I done passed all the tests that they have. I already know that I'm the number one man on their list. I happened to go over to, when they held me up from going to South Africa one time, I said, okay. I was going to go to Iran in a couple of weeks after that when I came back. So I went over to the customs and I talked to the supervisor. It was a black supervisor, and he had two white witnesses, a man and a woman. And I said, look, last time I was ready to go to South Africa from Atlanta. I flew from here to Atlanta, and then I was supposed to get on the plane. The customs took me off the plane and just said, you can't fly, and held me up. And I stayed at the airport all of that day, and then got the next plane because there was one plane a day going. So when I was going to Iran the next time, I went over to Dulles Airport, and I said, I want to talk to the supervisor that's going to be on tomorrow. That was when I'm going to leave. I said, I told him, I'm going to Iran, and I want to know so we can resolve whatever we got to resolve now so I don't get held up going. Plus, they don't hold people up going out. They hold them up coming in. So it's the customs, the head of customs over there told me, he said, look, you don't have to worry. He gave me his name and everything. If something come up, just give me a call. He said, everything on you comes from the top. There's nothing, everything, I said, you mean the very top? He said, the very top. Everything dealing with you comes from the top. Everything that comes, you know what I mean? When I get off the plane, they may not do it now. When I get off the plane and I'm walking, they got passport control, and you then get your luggage, and then they no, I didn't do it. There's a guy waiting for me. I wave at, hey, how you doing? They waiting for me. Soon as I come in, and sometime they get me before passport, before you even, and sometime when they got me at passport control, the guy's looking, and they said, don't worry. The other customs, they tell him, hey, how you doing? How was your trip? And we go in. And I did this every time for the last 10 times I came back in the U.S., you know. So the FBI come here and they call you to get my number, right? Do you think the FBI needs my phone number? This is ridiculous. But they came by so you would be a witness that they came by to talk to me. That's what they're doing. That's what they're reasoning. And then they told me, by the way, maybe you shouldn't go back to California. I said, what's happening with that? Well, you know what happened? I said, yeah, I know what happened. He said, did they do anything about it? Did you call the police? I said, of course I did. He said, did they do anything about it? I said, of course not. He said, that's what we're saying. It's dangerous for you to go back to Oakland. Guess what he says? You should stay here and do good deeds. Like he ain't listening to nothing I'm saying. The man know everything. So look, like right now we're in another arena. We're in another historical period. I'm saying to them, you guys know me. You watch everything I do. When I write this stuff, sometimes I'm sitting there writing, and I write stuff to see what happened. I do it all the time. Guess what? I'm sitting right there at my desk writing. Zzz. That means the thing is right over the top. It has to be, because they're reading what I'm writing, because I'm writing it to see if they read it. And every test, either the phone ring or when I get down here, something happened to let me know that they've read exactly what I done wrote. Or they try to counter, have somebody call me to counter what I just wrote, all that dumb stuff. So enough is enough. We already know. Now, for me, I passed every test. The sex test, ethics. I haven't bit no hook that the white man throw out there. None. And that run them crazy. First of all, they don't believe it. They don't believe that you can have those kind of ethics. So my son was telling me when we out in the masjid, he said, "Dad, you got to be careful because they can see everything you do." I said, "I know that." I said, "They can't watch a nigga do nothing but masturbate or something. So they can, what? They can be peeping toms. What they gonna do? They can't do nothing, right?" I said, "They watch." I said, "Do you know when you was a little boy?" "Yeah," and he's 50 years old. I said, "Yeah." I said, "What did I tell you about here?" He said, "All those police." I said, "Who was Mansour? Who was this?" He said, "We all knew they was all the police." I said, "Yeah, that's when you was a kid." He was telling that. I said, "Now you're 50 years old. What the heck do you think has been going on?" This has been going on since then. So we have to realize that there's a minimum of a 50-year period. I believe it's 55. It might even be more. Because when I was 19 and I just became a so-called black Muslim, black Muslims have strict, habits, stuff like that. Certain things you don't supposed to do. So I was on the second tier, I think, and this in the penitentiary in Tracy. And I was way down at the end, maybe room 225. And next door to me, room 226, was the prettiest little sissy, little Mexican sissy. And he used to have a red light on the thing, you know what I mean, to let you know, and he was my next door neighbor. I used to talk to him. I liked the little guy. But I wasn't going to do nothing to him because it's against the rules. And plus, it ain't against the penitentiary rules to knock no cutie pie sissy over. That ain't no against the rules. In fact, people be buying there like they prostitute. They in the penitentiary. People be buying and selling each other for cartons of cigarettes. How much you gonna charge me for the, stuff like that. So when I thought about it, I said the police back in '64 was trying to test me because I had joined the Nation of Islam. So they want you to do something wrong, and then they publicize it. You ain't to say, or they know where you coming from. Well, just imagine. Now, just imagine, you're in the penitentiary, you got his little sister got the nice little red light, and then the room got a nice smell. He sprays something in there. It smells like a little whorehouse, and he don't mess with nobody else. Because he's my neighbor, I could tell if something was going on. He there for me only. That was then. But in modern times, all of these contrived events, that's why I was talking about the Halle Berry. Well, she may not look like Halle Berry now, because Sister Bahia says she didn't gain a lot of weight. And I don't say, how the hell you know that she didn't gain a lot of weight? And you supposed to hate her. She was the one that was married Abdul Malik. You was married to Abdul Malik. I don't run all that down. I just said, oh, so she's fat now. That's what, or gained weight. Well, if they're gonna try to put her back on me, they'll run around the thing for 6 months till she trimmed down a little. You know what I mean? But I just write her name and then I make a statement for a few days and then I get a call. Why I want to call? I want to call to measure. Have you been a part of this scheme? Was your part in this such and such and such, or was it something else? How much did you know? And like they say, and when did you know it? Right? So remember, they play games with me all the time. I just play games right back. That's why you don't see nobody. I ain't worried about it. I don't care what you do. I'm gonna know what I need to know for my own, let's call it peace of mind, security, but I'm not gonna fall for none of that stuff. I don't care, and they know most niggas like white girls, so they're gonna have white girls, they're gonna have yellow girls, they're gonna have even a few black ones, you know what I mean? They're gonna go the whole gamut. So I've already passed all those tests, and nobody else have. I don't believe they have. I just technically don't believe that the Negro would pass those tests. To me, they're simple tests. Because I said, I ain't doing that. I'm just not doing it because it's not right according to what I'm doing. Now, if you want to get married, I'll marry anybody else. If you want to get married. Everybody else around here marry each other. The people marry each other and then they go and run off like right next door. The guy that left all that junk on there. But he had 2 nice daughters. They was going to the same school over there at Thurgood Marshall that Sakina and them went to. Top of the line students. Top of the line. They ready to, they're on all the clubs that Sakina had already went to college up there. But Fatima was still over there. They own this team, that team. They were perfect students. Just like Sakina was, top of the line. And Fatima too. So he sent his daughters that was at that age up to Philadelphia. Now Philadelphia, I'm not against Philadelphia, but if 1 in 8 people in Philadelphia is Muslims and they don't have no moral effect on the thing, something's wrong with Philadelphia and the Negroes as Muslims up there. If you're 1 in 8 people and you don't have no effect on the society, and the people don't say, no, the Muslims do this, the Muslims don't do that. They don't say that in Philadelphia. And plus the background. So I told him, I said, hey, you know, in my house, I stay downstairs, but I'll move into the masjid. If it's something with your daughters, they can come down and stay in my house with my daughters. Free of charge, don't worry about a thing. And they can keep going to that school over there, I said, because they doing good over there. You know, all the kids talking, they know who's this at. He sent them up there anyway, and the oldest one is pregnant and had a baby. I mean, in like 2 years, that happens, it happens. People marry each other around here, they divorce, they move. So those things that are so-called sacred, like marriage and divorce, the people do it, just like in the movie. You want to trap somebody, you trap them with a girl. You want to trap a woman, you trap them with a handsome man. Same old dumb, they do that. And they get married, they do it so often, they would be playing with me, you know. Would you marry us? Would you do that? Sure. So that I get enough skill in marriage. You know, yeah, they say you need skill in it. Even they'll hold up a body and they'll say they want to test to see, do I know how to wash bodies? So, yeah, of course, they do everything. So they had somebody called, they said the brother's over there, he's already at the funeral home, but they want. So I'll take the brothers with me over and we'll wash the body, right according to the Sunnah. Yeah. And if they want to have somebody perform a big funeral here and don't want me to do it, they'll ask somebody else, can they do it? And then they'll have cars parked all up the street and all around. Gigantic funerals right here. But I won't have nothing to do with it. You see? They sold this stuff. So basically I'm saying, finish with all that stuff. We too far along with all that. So we want to sign a treaty, but here's the way. Sex test, ethics, we haven't invited nothing. The power test, if you have power and wealth and money. I got lucky with that test over 50 years ago. You know, I got lucky with that test. Because you are who you are, I mean, from Jump Street. But if you got certain propensities, all the human beings got certain propensities that be best stuff. You got to tighten up certain things. You got to increase others. In other words, you come with who you are. My nephew, my real nephew, not my grandnephew that was doing these things, but my nephew. So we was talking about our family, and I said, no, I came like that. We was talking about money. I said, I used to save silver dollars and put them in the drawer, and other brothers, two older brothers, actually three. I said, but I know the one, he didn't steal. And the other two would, but one, I know he would take my little money. And he had money, but I would have just $5 in the drawer, you know, and stuff like that. So I was telling him, no, I came with that habit of managing money and all of that. I came with that. That's all I had to do was improve it. It wasn't never like, I got to really work on this. And it was such a good habit that when other Negroes, we got at a place, we was getting so much money that you start partying a little bit, and then you get loose a little bit. One of my friends, Willie Ward, was down, he was a big hustler, Willie Ward. You know, the Ward brothers. The guys, some of them was on the movie. What was that movie? Mac. It was in the Mac. The ones that won the Mac of the Year award. It was two of them, Ted Ward and Willie Ward. Well, Willie Ward was the youngest. So anyway, we down at the California Hotel, the Stroll and all the spots. And so him and his friend was in the car, my car, and then me and my friend was in the car. So we was snorting blow. So we got kind of loose. So I leaned back and said, you got another one of them things? You know, another package of cocaine. So we just gonna snort it. So Willie Ward said to me, I told him this years later, he didn't remember nothing. He said, you keep that up, you won't be captain of the ship. I didn't say that, but I heard it. It was just the thing I needed to know. The next morning, I was headed to the hills, back lifting weights. When I'd come to the nightclub, I'd have a tight T-shirt on, you know what I mean, instead of a big suit and all of that. And right away, one little message is all I needed to know. Not only did I get back physically fit, which I always was, but also the management of money. I took all the cocaine and locked it up. No more partying. That's it. One little message. Why? Because I was already like that, and we was getting a little loose. If we would have kept that up for another month or 3 months, we'd have been broke. All our stuff would have been, we would have been like other Negroes, you know, just laying out, chasing women, you know what I mean, having big money, having all of them around, and all that dumb stuff. Hey man, you keep that up, you won't be captain of the ship. I didn't say nothing. That the next morning, hey, I could have went home right then and said good night, goodbye, see y'all, I'm going home. And I'm telling you, the next day I was up in the hills walking at first and then running and lifting iron, back in discipline. Everybody have to meet at my shop at 8 o'clock, you know, and we start doing our business regular, standardized procedure, white folks call it. Yeah. We're back in serious business. Just one little hint. So the point is, we had certain habits already, and we didn't have to, I don't know whether you say work on them as hard as other people, but you know, and this when Yusuf is thanking Allah for understanding events and situations. When all this stuff was happening to me, I just looked up and I just did, I'd go up there to UC Berkeley, get all the books on law, get all the books on police psychology, and I'd study them just like I study now. The same thing if it's management, if it's this, if it's that, I just go get the books and study it, take notes, and then do my own stuff, you know, with it, stir it up with my own stuff, and off we go. With Negro characteristics. It don't make no difference what it is. So, during that period of time, I said, man, Negroes don't last long. You know, you are analyzing what's going on. I don't know. I was just analyzing all the time. You have to analyze. So if 100 Negroes walk through that door, 97 of them are gonna get hit with a baseball bat. Like if 100 niggas go to federal court for drugs, 97 of them going to the penitentiary, and 3 are not. When you're arrogant and young, you think that 3, I'm gonna be 1 out of that 3. Cause I'm big so-and-so, I'm the smartest nigga in town and I know what's going on. I didn't do that. I said, I don't like those odds. I said, goodbye America, y'all can keep this boy. I said, hey, you know, in other words, it wasn't an arrogant decision, it was a good decision based on probability. How are 97 people gonna go to penitentiary and lose everything they got? And they're gonna be there so long, they're gonna lose their family, their house, they're gonna lose all of that. The government gonna take it from them. And then 3 of them gonna get away. And if you get away with the feds, they're gonna be right back 2 weeks later. They really gonna get you then. I don't know if you know the system. If you beat a big case with the feds, that's it. You got them all riled up now. They gonna get you. That's the way they do. Well, they got everybody else. But I said, no, goodbye, everybody. I'm gone. And I knew they knew I was leaving because I was telling people, some of my friends that was polices. So I knew they knew I was going. Maybe they just didn't believe it because niggas don't run off. And then to run to Algeria, maybe to Monte Carlo or down to Acapulco or somewhere, or back down to Arkansas for a few weeks. like the Negroes here, the police, it was so sad. All during the 90s, 80s and 90s when they was having all them big cases, most of the Negroes from DC is from Carolina, right? A few of them from Virginia, but most of them from Carolina. When a Negro got a case up here and he run off, they just sent a message to the police department down the town his family came from. That they'd have somebody go down there and pick him up. Because this is as far as he could think, right? They're not going to think the Negro going to run all the way away to Africa. You know what I mean? He ain't running down the street. So I'm telling you that they know me in detail. They've been watching me. They've been smelling my clothes, all of that. So they know who I am, and they know how I behave. They already know that. Just like I know them, and they can make, okay, you have to admit that when I discuss the system, I'm relatively accurate. I'm not going to say 100% because that means, you know, I know something. Well, let's say 95%. Who's that accurate about anything? Nobody. Why am I that accurate about them? They know me and I know them. It ain't no big deal. They can predict what I'm going to do and I can predict what they're going to do, right? Only thing I'm saying now, things are a little too tight. We got to set that junk aside. I'm tired of you playing with me, and we got work to do, right? I'm tired of you doing what you do, and you ought to be tired of doing it by now. You got all of the stuff. You don't have to worry about me going crazy with sex and stuff, because I ain't going to run after nobody. And then I'm at 75 years old. If I wasn't running after them when I was 35 and 45, by the time you get 75, you done got, functional, but who cares, at 75? Just think, if you ain't running after no tenders when you running in the hills, lifting weights and full of juice, and you sticking to, they don't believe it, of course. These people are so silly. I'm going to tell you, you won't believe it. I'm running down the road up there that's up in the hills. Here's a white man. You can tell he's police. He's got a crew cut like you. And then he got a real pretty white girl with him running. This white girl runs up in front of me. And then when we go around the meadow, she stops and crosses her legs and bends over. And I'm looking straight at one of the nicest looking vaginas I believe I've ever seen. They must have had a vagina contest. No, they took all white police women, you gotta come in, let's look at your vagina, see which one you're gonna flash on the Negro. I said, boy, that is a nice vagina there. That boy is nice. It was nice looking. Nice looking, I'm telling you. They had a contest. They had to have. And then, when I was running over here, where I run, I went over there today, right there at DuPont Park. This is 90, 91 or something. Maybe late as 92. So, you know those sex books they have everywhere? So I'm running, and there's a book right there on the trail, and it's open to a page with an Arab woman with her behind. When you're looking at it, and I'm walking, I'm running. I said, boy, that girl there is pretty serious. And they just do stuff like that, right? I mean, they do stuff like that all the time. And I just looked, I said, well, the old white man's trying to trick me again. I ain't gonna pick that book up. And then the shaitan say, oh, you just take a little peek, it ain't gonna hurt nothing. And I tell her, I ain't gonna be bothered with that book. I don't wanna see no vagina. It's like you play with the shaitan. You can play with him. You can get tough with him. No, sucker. You can't tell, get it. They do that little stupid stuff all the time. So they know where I'm coming from. Okay. The power test. What if you acquire power? Because to get this stuff done, there's going to have to be a transfer of power or cooperation of power. That's why I say we're going to have a Jcpoa, something like that. The honor test. Okay. The nonviolence test. That's why I had this view 50 years ago, and that was a postponement till now. I have to go through all of my tests. You know what I mean? Yeah, I have to go through, it's like a training. Oh, you want to see a better world? You want to make a better world? Well, that don't usually happen too often. Nonviolent resistance. Are you violent? Because now remember, the white man don't believe. You know where we make the jokes all the time that when I tell everybody, it's just an atmosphere of love. Okay, and we joke about, I don't think they believe it. When I say it, they think, these bums, they think that nigga done studied real well, and he knows when he's gonna do everything, and he got enough discipline, he ain't gonna, oh, you beat me upside the head, he figured, oh, I'll get the nigga in 20 years. That's what they thinking. Huh? I'll get him in 5 years. Right? That's what they think, because they know that I have developed that type of discipline, right? That I'm not going to react to nothing like that. I'm not going to relax. But they believe that this nigga is not really, really in love with nobody. That's the way they think. And they think like that because they haven't seen this before. They haven't experienced this before. If I done eased up to number 10, most of the niggas flunk out at 2 or 3. And they haven't even seen one to get higher than 3 or 4. They just haven't. So they don't believe. They don't believe what they're seeing. So now that's why I'm explaining to them, what you have seen, you can believe. The intention test. I don't have no niyyah, no intention to do anything to them, to their system, or take any unfair advantage if I wound up in a position of power or prestige. I'm not going to do, well, like Mandelaism, but we call it Mandelaism plus. Because Mandela was way back then. We have to be, a step or two higher. And Mandela let the white folks go, admit what you did wrong and da-da-da-da-da. And so, all right, let me keep on. The comprehensive test. The comprehensive test, the ability to, like it said, where Yusuf is thanking Allah for giving him an understanding of the comprehensive nature of things and giving them some power and some ability, and to see how these things fit together and work together. I think the actual wording, let me see here just 1 second. O my sustainer, thou hast indeed bestowed upon me something of power. Power is the ability to get things done. And has imparted unto me some knowledge of the inner meaning of happenings. The inner meaning of what's going on. A lot of people have the surface meaning. It's easy to just interpret the surface meaning. Remember, I've always talked about a minimum of 3 levels. We act on the surface level. We just act on the surface level. But if we say this is white and this is black, we may mean there's shades of yellow and green in there too. But we're not going to say that until it's the proper time. So we say, that's black, that's white, finished. Okay. Forgiveness test. Now, this is something they don't do. They don't believe in it. White folks do not believe and have not acted on forgiveness. Black people do. When Jomo Kenyatta gave his acceptance speech in 1961, he was supposed to be one of the leaders of the Mau Mau movement. He was in the penitentiary for 9 years. They brought him out. He gave a message of accommodation to the people, the British. When you hear about evil in those days, they would, for white folks, say, the Mau Maus, right? The Mau Maus, 155,000 of them was killed by the British, and 55 British was killed by the Mau Maus. 55 was killed by it. And you don't hear nothing about the evil old white folks who killed 155,000 Mau Maus, right? You hear about those evil Mau Maus that killed 55,000 white. But in other words, Jomo Kenyatta gave an acceptance speech. Nelson Mandela did basically the same thing. You know, no revenge, you know, this, that, and other. They call it Truth and Reconciliation. That was back in 95, 95. He was elected in 94. By 95, they had Truth and Reconciliation. If you was a white man, you could come and say before the committee, yes, I hung niggas by the toes and the feet, and they was doing that. And I did this and I did that. They said, well, you're reconciled. That's all they had to do. Truth and reconciliation. You just tell the truth, and they said, yeah, I did this, I did that, and they walked on out the door. White folks don't do that. They don't do that. When you rebel, the brothers who rebelled against the white folks in the 60s, they're in the penitentiary now. Imam Jamil's still in the penitentiary. Of course, I'm gonna tell the feds that the feds offered me something when they came here. Well, if you have any friends or you need some favor, so I'm just saying it's public. So I don't need no favor from no FBI, but I will say this. I do have a friend that's rotting in the federal prison right now. We'd like to see him come home. No deal, I ain't signing nothing, I ain't telling on nobody, I ain't doing, but I'd like to see him come home before he dies. His health is getting bad, and everybody knows it. They got a phony trial that they gave him, and everybody knows it. They said he was a Black Panther, he was a this, and they gave him a bad news, bad spill, and the people say he's guilty. It would be nice to let him out, not just before he dies, like the brother that spent 42 years down there in Louisiana. They let him out the day before he died. Do you know how scientific that is? They waited. He had cancer. They didn't say you're going out for a week and look around and enjoy that week. Heck no. He got out yesterday and he died today. That was the way it was. 42 years. Okay. The click test. The click test is everybody belongs to a clique, mostly. We did everything we did here without a clique. No matter how it looks, we did what we have done over the years without a clique. Okay, everybody that I know is part of a clique. They call from Iran, they're part of a clique, right? They're part of a clique. That clique was useful in the old days. It was useful when you had a The Democratic Party is a clique. The Republican Party is a clique. And in each side, inside of each party is smaller cliques. You know what I mean? One is really, really, really liberal. They really want to see people, that's a few of them, 4, 5. And then you got the majority of them. They are part of the big mouth clique that won't give you a dime. They just sit there, they do like Nancy Pelosi them. Them people, I can't even stop laughing now. They actually put on kente cloth and took a knee. The Democrats. I don't know, we was calling it something, munaficracy. Yeah, munaficracy. They're not even hypocrites, they're something else. The people, they do that stuff. That's what they do, right? That's called Americanism. That's what they do. That ain't, nobody is upset about that. What you doing? Why are you doing that? They're not upset about it, right? Because that's what people do. The wind is blowing this way, the wind is blowing behind the so-called demonstrators, but the government is behind them with the fan blowing all that stuff. They're controlling this message, okay? But here's the thing. We want to get to a certain stage. I'm going to speed up a little. We have to make a quantum leap. Quantum leap, that's a big leap. In America, we have to do this new American thing. Now remember, here's what we said. America, I believe this is the last opportunity, right, to be the America that it's written about. Because right now, America is in bad shape. You got to remember, the Americans lost the Vietnam War. The Americans stabilized in Korea, 1950, 1953, when they signed a ceasefire. Technically, they're still at war with North Korea now, still a war, but they signed a ceasefire, okay? Let's skip lynching and burning and all of that, and let's skip all of that, and we get to the Vietnam War. America ain't win no Vietnam War. They didn't win that war. They was trying to get out of there as quick as they could, and people was holding on the helicopters trying to leave. Please take us with you. And the white man saying, y'all are no more use to me. After all, you're Vietnamese, so welcome home. And all them tanks and rolling in there, and the snitches all, the point I'm making is, white folks don't have that forgiveness syndrome. There's probably a few of them, but their governments, I have never seen them do it. Okay, brother, y'all. Like pardons, you know, in the Islamic world, they have every Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha, and for Shias, every Eid, and they got 4, 5 more Eids, you know. They do that kind of thing. They let people go every time from prison and stuff like that. When they had this coronavirus here in Iran, they said, okay, they let, I don't know how many thousands of people go. They say, well, we're giving you a parole, and then if things go one way or the other, we'll call you back later. They actually just let them go. They let thousands of people in Iran go. Have you seen anybody like that around here? When the government, hey man, it was 10 or 12 years ago, the government, 13 years ago, the federal government issued a citation to California, your prison's overcrowded, you gotta let people go. Shoot, they ain't let nobody go. And then they let 4 or 5 people go now. with coronavirus going around. But they don't do that. They don't do that. We're supposed to be barbaric, and every Eid al-Fitr, especially we let 500 people go from the pen. You know, that's in Iran they would do that. The hanging judge, Khalkhali, it was about 82, 83. At Eid al-Fitr, he let 500 people. He's the hanging judge, you know what I mean? He let 500 people go. Good God Almighty. Have you ever heard of anything like that here? Tell the truth. They don't even think, what? They don't believe in that now. So when we talk that talk about love and kindness, they don't believe it. They don't believe, they don't have confidence in themselves. They couldn't forgive nobody that busted upside the head, stole something from them. And they think that they did that to other people, right? Those people are not going to forgive us. They don't believe Iranians will forgive you. If you want an American want to be safe right now, let them go to Iran. The people will follow. You're American? Welcome. Right now, today. If you think I'm lying, watch some of these TV programs. They'll tell you I was treated very well in Iran. And they did, anyway. So we, like original people, as they used to call us, we have a certain type of compassion. Now, don't you look for no love and compassion from another Negro. He ain't gonna forgive you. Nigga, da, 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 da. But if you're white, you know, if you're white, you're all right. You ever see white folks walk up and down the street here? They just go about their business. Don't nobody call the police or some white folks, man, walking down the street. Or it's gang, people hang out at the liquor store. They don't beat them white folks up, right? They don't do nothing to them, right? But you go by and step on one of their tennis shoes. Good God Almighty, you're in trouble. I'm just trying to tell you. We don't forgive each other, but we'll forgive everybody else. In this case, we telling white folks, you don't worry about us. We got too much to do right now. And I know you've been bad. You have to admit it, you've been bad. You've been, oh my goodness, you've been bad. I'm not gonna go over the stuff that you've been doing or you have done. I'm going to try to stick to forgiveness and love, L-O-V-E, love. Here's why. In order to make a new world, we have to begin to reshape things. And you got a chance to rebuild the world you have to do for others while you can. Example, the US dollar is high right now. So the US, remember, the US wants to be number one. The US wants to be important again. What's the only thing open for him to be number one? Is be good. Take a job don't nobody want. China don't want, like the job we got, nobody wants this job. Nobody. Don't nobody want this job. You tell the truth. Don't nobody want it. What? That's the job America got to take. Here's what I mean. Technically, they have to repent. They have to do good. Now, that's not going to be easy. We're going to have to coach them all along the way. Remember, we always talked about the 10% of the FBI, and in the system, there's a couple in there that's pretty good. They believe in the Constitution, right? So if everybody looking and they breaking the Constitution, they might break it right along with them. They don't want to be, bad, odd man out, but they don't like it in their heart. We're talking to them guys. Those guys have to stand up and come forward. Not next week, but today. They have to They have to get packed up today. We have to start fixing this world right away. We're willing to sign a Jcpoa, whatever it is, with them. You know what that means. We're not going to even say it. You know what it means. We're going to stick to our part 100%. We're going to stick to it. You should stick to your part too. But, I mean, it's hard. Anyway, that's why we call it Jcpoa. What is all of this talking about? America the good. What does America the good mean? That America should adopt the job of being better than what it always said it was. Yeah. It always was a city on a hill, like what is democracy? It's going to have to be more than democracy. So America, if it wants to get through this one right here, it has to become better than everything that it stated it was about. Number one, it has to rebuild all the places it destroyed. So it has to rebuild Iraq, rebuild Syria, rebuild Yemen, run its people out of Libya and rebuild it, fix it up. Nice, modern, utopian looking. For Arabs, it destroyed it. And do it in front of everybody where, of course, you hire the people there to do the work, but you do give a little guidance on plumbing systems, stuff they may not be, you know what I mean? How to get the kind of water you need to way over there. This is what America has to do, and has to do it now. It has to do it in conjunction with us telling them what to do. Right here. We already passed all the tests. We're ready to sign the treaty, Jcpoa, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. And now I know you're saying, boy, Imam Musa. No, I'm absolutely serious. I am absolutely serious. I'm going to go back to California soon, and I'm waiting for 2 or 3 days for them to say we agree. Number one, you done did all this nickel and dime stuff, so fix up the case there in Oakland. I'm going to win the case. I'm going to do all that stuff anyway. They done already gave that stuff to me. Okay, we don't have time to mess with that. But if we go through it, we'll happily go through it. And we'll start off at $100 million. Because this little penny ante stuff is not, the world is not there right now. The world is not there right now. That we just poke along and do our community stuff. The world, the earth itself, is not waiting on us. We have to deal with this thing, and now, I believe this is going to happen globally. What we're doing is we're giving the United States of America probably its last chance to play a leading role in this new earth. We've been talking about this for decades, really. New earth revival, all of that. Elementary stuff they have to do right away. Number one, we're structuring this so we advise them on what to do because they're not good at this stuff. Good? Doing good? Okay. They can't do that. We've passed all the good tests, right? We've passed every test. If everybody agree, we've passed all the tests. No scandal, no nothing. What was it? No sex scandals, no nothing. How we gonna act? when we get big power, because you have to have an authority in charge that have the ability to control themselves. They don't have the ability to control. They can't do it. The American government cannot do this job. They cannot do it without guidance from somebody that they recognize. See, that's why I'm saying you're going to have to recognize us. They're going to have to come and say, oh, we did wrong, da-da-da-da, and we signed a treaty. Yeah, that's what we're saying. It don't make no difference whether they do it or not. I'm putting out the terms. These are terms of where we're coming from. If they do them, don't make no difference. I can give you some advantages, some example. If America can be number one again, but it have to be in an arena that ain't nobody played it, the game changer, right? The game changer is repentance. They play in that arena, right? And they play in the green arena, the revival arena. They're going to come in. This is America. They can do it, but it's going to be hard on them. Me and you got to keep urging them to do good, because they big people. They can do it, or they can go down in flames. It ain't on us. America can do it. America, you can do it, or you'll do Nero fiddle while Rome burns. It don't make us no difference. If you're not ready to do right now, if you Euros, white folks, are not tired of the Israelis destroying you, your reputation, and everything you're about, you're not developed to do that. Couple of decades ago, bam, Soviet Union crumbled. Whoop. You didn't do nothing but make fun of them, and you didn't cut back on no weapons, right? No, nothing. That was allowed and handed you a victory. You ain't did nothing to earn that. You ain't did nothing. Just okay, Soviet Union crumbled. The Eastern Bloc crumbled, Poland, everybody else, they crumbled, and then they joined with the other white folks in the other part of Europe. You had it sitting right there in your hand. You didn't do a thing. All you did was said, the Zionists told you this boy in Iraq got a lot of weapons. He was fighting Iran, dual containment for all this time. Now he got a big trained army, and he got this and that, and we want you to go over there and destroy it. That's what they did, right? Desert Storm, they went over there and wiped out Saddam, except they let him keep enough to kill the Shias. Remember George Bush was telling them, rise up, rise up. They rose up, and the boss man pulled back. Boss man is, hey man, I'm not going to talk about boss man, but boss man needs a supervisor. That's us. He has to have one. He cannot, he's not programmed to do good. He don't even believe in it. The system. They don't even believe in it. Although these people, the American people, done listen to that bum every time. Not bum, I mean the system. They call on them in this war, they call on them in that war, and they pack up and go to war. Their lives, their wives, their children, and they all come back crazy. It's a little different now. It's a little different. It's big different now. Look, when you hear, You know how military people is, they respect the chain of command. Although Colin Powell was Secretary of State, he was head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. If he says that man is crazy, you notice what happened right after that? Everybody else said he's crazy too. Right on down the line. There's a few of them mumbling, but when he said that boy there needs help, everybody else said that boy needs help. Right? It was probably the next day, no longer than 2 days. They respect the chain of command. This man in the White House has un-American behavior. What the generals say. Everybody else try to unite Americans, he try to divide them. One good thing about him, he destroyed his Hitlerian opportunity. So we're appealing, like we say is 10% of the FBI is good, we're appealing to all the systems. This is the time you have to stand up, because this is going to be a big job. A big job, and it ain't going to be no taking Aunt Jemima stuff out of the thing. I'm not for that at all. I mean, after all, you see the pancake stuff we got down there. What are you talking about? You know, we're not talking about that dumb stuff, right? We ain't tearing down a statue. You know, first of all, I'm going to get back to the subject. But if the South history is a history of rebelling against this United States of America, they fought a war, they lost, and in the 50s they started resurrecting all these statues to let everybody know this is where we're coming from. So you ought to let them keep most of these, because you know the way they wrote us out of history? Suppose you write that out of history. In 50 years, what the kids won't know, oh, the South, they won't even the Civil War, what was that? Civil War, 670-some thousand people, more people died in the Civil War. That's when they got cameras, you know, where they could see them dead. Man, that kind of slaughter, the slaughter that modern weapons do, it's like, that's why we're on this love trip. That other stuff, I don't even want to be a part of it. I mean, if somebody come bother me, I'll defend myself. Or the community will defend ourselves. But those zillions of people dying, corpses laying, oh man, it's pitiful. No, we could do better. We could do better than that. They don't believe you can do better. That's their problem. They believe that's natural. They believe it's natural that they keep their time as by timelines of wars. They think that's natural. We say it was natural during certain stages of evolution. Survival of the fittest, you know what I mean? If you couldn't run fast enough, you just got ate up by something. Survival of the fittest. Okay, but the human being evolved to where it can take care of its old people, and it developed a system of revering people when they got old. Now, we're talking about people that are just 50 or 60 years old. We ain't talking about old people like now. If you got to live that long, you'd seen certain things. Every system, or every people had some honor. Some actually worshiped their ancestors, some, they honored them. Because they got old. And then you took care of them. When they got a certain age, you took care of them. Okay. They don't believe that the human being can evolve to do the things we're talking about. He can do it. He just have to have somebody there saying, you can do it. Go and do good. Do good, boss man. It ain't gonna hurt you. You won't lose. You gotta coach him. You gotta be right there to coach him. Boss man, just keep on doing good. Boss man, they're saying, We want to defund the police. Don't defund the police. Just get rid of the police, the reason for the police to be there. If 80% of the people are involved in drug-related crimes, right? Then make drugs legal. For them, not for us, but they're legal, right? Then you don't have to have all the police running around kicking indoors, right? You don't have to have the police doing all, you won't need that many police. Then if you get America involved, what do they say that people like? More than anything, they're a social animal. They like to be a part of a team, right? So America is on the green team, the global revivalists. What team you want to be on? You want to be on the beach fish cleanup team? You want to be on the forest revival cleanup team? You want to be on the deep ocean cleanup team, right? Yeah. You want to be on the preservation, on the reservation team? Give people something to do, right? You want to help Native Americans live a new type of life? Give them something to live for, right? Give them something to live for. Without you jumping in the middle of it, bothering them. If they want to chew peyote, whatever they want to do, let them do it, right? And then you get to fix up all your land the way it was a long time ago. We're going to have hatcheries for eagles and rabbits, and we're going to just, everywhere, we're going to plant a few Johnny Appleseed type stuff, but you're going to, in all the forests, we're going to put a few plum trees, pear trees, and all that in the forest. Why? Because that's the way it used to be, and the birds, they said 33 million birds have disappeared. 33% of the birds over the last 50 years have disappeared. Do you remember how many birds you used to see? Well, if you all out in the woods, all around here, you have fruit trees, not denatured trees. Even when you used to plant trees years ago, we used to raid, people used to have fruit trees in their yard. We used to go down the street and we saw them plums over there, them big plums like you buy in the store. It wasn't nice. We'd tear down the people's fence and break all the limbs and stuff. But shoot, where we was from, we would, the cherry trees, they got, you know the season. Cherries are gonna get ripe early. I mean, April, May, April, they're gonna be ready to roll.
The tree on the lot next to H Street is actually a cherry right now.
Right, yeah. The cherries, look at here, I'm telling you, cherries. There used to be tons of trees up there on that, yeah, we cut them down because they was old, apple trees, all that stuff. Yeah, it was a lot of, remember, this is old Southeast. All this, the people planted real trees. They didn't plant them denatured trees that don't have nothing on them. Everybody here was from the country. This was the country out here. So they planted, but back to the story. In the forest, if you plant fruit trees and everything, you're gonna get more birds. If you get more birds, the fruit fall off on the ground, the animals gonna eat some, so it's gonna be more animals. Then the animals that eat them animals, there's gonna be plenty of them. So you can simple, you replenish things, and you look around in 10 years, everything is blooming and back to, this is stuff we have to do. We have to stop wanting it to have a sterile environment. We don't want all the apples to fall on the ground. No, they do. Up in Oregon, you have them Washington apples. Well, up there, they have good apples. They have apple trees. I mean, they just put a sign out. You can pick all the apples you want off. The trees is in the front yard, I mean, and they be, for the people nowadays, they're a bother. They don't want to pick them and put them in no boxes for you to have. But so for them, they want to cut the trees down and all that. Okay, shoot. You got all them poor people, all them homeless people in all them cities. Just put the word out. Hey, you know, October, that's when the apples get ready, September. October, there'll be plenty of them. All the way up to November almost. Come on, get them. In other words, the world that we want to rebuild can be done, but we have to have a human being in place that's really willing to take a chance. They talk about that old pioneer spirit. They have to take a chance. Will the American people go along with it? Yeah, they will. We got too much science, too much engineering, too much everything. We can sell anything to people, right? And we can tell them, well, we're selling y'all on unity and friendship. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're pushing right now. That's what we need to upgrade. And they'll say, oh, we're in the unity thing. Yeah, so let's get going with unity. When you see these millions of people walking in the street now, by the hundreds of thousands, they're ready for a change. They're ready. This New World stuff we're talking about, they're ready for it. But if we let it go by a couple of more years, they'll get out of college, and they'll get in a job, and that's going to be gone. Yep. We have to do it right now. And remember, the people are good, just nobody is trying to bring the good out of people. Everything in America, the world is set up for you to cut people's throat. If you're going to get good in business, you're going to have to cut your partner's throat. Y'all started out in a garage, Asniak, Wozniak, and y'all got, right? So somebody got to cut the other one's throat in order for it to get big. Oh, we don't want to go together. I don't want you anymore, right? That type of stuff. You know, so people are not built, they are built to do good, but we have to have a good system. Because systems has so much power. It has the power to do evil and the power to do good. Right now, it's power to do evil. Let me try to speed up a little bit. There are some things that we want to avoid. If we make drugs legal, that means it avoid the stormtroopers. And just look at what the police look like. It looked just like the Star Trek stormtroopers, don't they? They all look the same, the stormtroopers. Who are the original stormtroopers? The Nazis. We got a constitution here. Under the Constitution of America, they didn't turn this into a what? Stormtrooper heaven. And the white police can shoot a black man or Indian or anybody else, and they'll get 3 cheers from the other stormtroopers. The police is mad. Ooh, you said this about us. They got a nerve. Okay. We have to have a good system because there's the bad side. White folks call it the dark side. You can develop a system and you can get crackpot people, real crackpot people. There are people that get off on torturing other people. Like I was saying, I believe the man was playing pocket pool when he had his knee. I was looking at how he got his knee, and how he's masturbating. He kept on for another over 3 minutes. Why didn't take it? He could feel the man is dead, right? He hadn't got off yet, that's all. You get people that get off on torturing people, you know what I mean? There's people like that. You can train an army to kill and murder, or you could train them, I know it sounds funny, to hug people, to help people. If you have to have an army, why would you have an army to kill people? That's insanity. That's it. Look, they don't think it's crazy because to them it's normal. It's not normal. Not at this stage of evolution. You failed to evolve. We have evolved so much that we have to control ourselves. We have to manage ourselves because the human being likes to make things and they look at it and enjoy it. So the human being basically does not mind working. In fact, they like working. The human being, real purposeful work, the human being actually, and then you get them in a social environment too, where they all happy and laughing and stuff, telling jokes. They'll do anything they can. The human being is like that, but you can also get the other side, the people that are dissatisfied with life. And they're not mature. They'll blame everything on everybody else. It's the Mexicans' fault. So you stole 1/4, 55% of Mexico, they stole it, and the Mexicans, it's their fault. It's their fault. Think about it. And we haven't did nothing. This is ours. And they don't realize if the earth revolves, what goes around comes around. They don't realize that there are natural laws. Oh, you take all of Mexico, Mexicans call it reconquista, the reconquest. Do you know? The reconquest is already done. That's already done. The Mexicans have, you look at, this is Negroville and other villes. It's not California. California, you go out there and see. Here they got Mexican stores, Latin stores, all around. Su compro, right here and right now. And Mexicans outnumber, Latinos. Remember, I'm from California, so when I think about Latinos, I think about Mexicans. If you're from New York, you think about Puerto Ricans or something, you know. But so when I say one, I mean the other. And then those places are like beautiful. You couldn't imagine how beautiful Mexico is if it was there without the Americans there. But anyway, you got to think about it. If they stole, I put it this way, Reconquista, the population of blacks is less than Latinos. And I don't know what they gave the girls, but remember 20 years ago how teen pregnancy was the always on the thing every day. That's what they talk about. You seen any teen pregnancy lately? What happened? What's going on? Right? Not only no teen pregnancy, just black pregnancy. How many of our women are having children? Okay, so don't worry. The Latino community, which we have to always remain brothers and sisters with and understanding with, everybody got a bone to pick with America. They stole lands from the Indians, right? They brought me and you over here to work. They stole Florida. You know where the Fountain of Youth was supposed to be? In Florida. Ponce de Leon was supposed to be in Florida. Texas, you can drive in Texas all day long and more. You come in from Louisiana, Beaumont, Texas, it's swamps and gators and everything. When you leave at El Paso, it's the desert. I mean, real live Gila monster desert. Right? In what state? And they just stole that. And everything else out there they stole. They're going to have to, they don't have to give it back. The Mexicans are going to take it. It's already done. It's, you know, this is already done. The population shifts. They're already set. White folks not having no children, hardly, right? It looks like they're having a lot by all the ones that are walking out of the street, but their reproduction rate is going down. They don't even have enough to replace, you know, the replacement, either 1.5 or 2.5 children to replace what you have already. With all of this stuff going on in the world, we're going to have to be a part of fixing things. That's what we're already a part. We're claiming our part to be a part of fixing things. If Boss Man hear our discussion, good. But we're not going to stop or alter what but we know, look, the world, just think how beautiful it would be if the world was on the verge of destruction and the ice caps was melting. I just heard something halfway in my sleep because I had a thing on about the ice caps melting even more. I heard it this morning. I said, oh man, we got to get busy in a hurry. We got to fix it in a hurry. Just think how it will sound in the historical future. When the world was going brown instead of green, and when the oceans was boiling over, America stepped up. America stepped up. And they fixed themselves and they started fixing everything else, and the whole world got behind them. That's the chance they got. That's the chance they got right now. Or they got a chance for the other history. Them bums, they're the cause of all of this. The oceans smell like a sewer, right? There's no such thing as the Arctic, right? There's no such thing as the Arctic. They don't even have polar bears anymore. They've got a couple in the zoo, right? Just like certain rhinos, a white rhino, they don't even have anymore. They're just trying to get one match with another one, and I don't know if they made it. But they're extincting everything because they don't care about that life. Now, me and you, we do care because we're part of a religion that Allah says He created everything in balance. We got to help put that back in balance. So, yeah, justice and truth. Oh, no doubt about it. Okay. Some people that we know don't have those characteristics. We're not calling no names. But the people never hurt them. And they answered the call for them. So repair humanity. This might be one of their last chances against Shaitan. Shaitan gonna be here. He ain't leaving. As long as we here, he gonna be here. So forget it. But Shaitan is having a field day. I say let's give him a run for his money. Yeah. Do you know that the human being have the chance to give the Shaitan a run for his money? All we have to do is good. Okay. Now they squandered every opportunity to do good. Everything that came their way. They might have helped the Europeans with a Marshall Plan, but they stole everybody else's money. So if you want to fix things, right? While the American dollar is high, send trillions of dollars down to Central and South America. While the dollar is high, because it ain't gonna be high long, because it ain't gonna be the global currency. But while it's the global currency, you use it for good, because it ain't gonna be around much longer. Don't worry about that. Because they have forced everybody else against them. Now, what goes around comes around means, the way we're talking about it today, that you did something generations ago, and that recycles and it comes back around, and because you're gone, don't mean that the earth keeps spinning, right? And there's people who will have to bear the burdens of what you did, the old system, right? But now we can help by repair. Everybody talk about reparations. All reparations mean the root is to repair. We can repair the earth. We can green it up, we can clean it up, and it'll be a beautiful place, right, to live. The people involved in that process, if we remove or block the access to evil, block the road to evil, you can't stop it, but you can slow it down a whole lot. And if you have enough time, you can improve the human beings so much that they'll be able to go on their own for a while. And imagine if they live in a world where they've spent 20 years fixing this up, imagine the goodwill toward men. Imagine all of that. Okay, boss man don't think like that. But remember, there's a few constitutionalists. I've always believed that in this system, there's a few people that have, they believe in it. We're appealing to them now. We're appealing to y'all. You got to get off your bottoms, dear brothers. It's not that we have a whole lot of time. And this Jcpoa that we're going to sign it. We're just telling you, we're not going to cause you any trouble. You don't have to worry about power. You don't have to worry about prestige. You don't have to worry about us going crazy with none of that, because we've already passed all of these tests we just enumerated. And guess what? We did better than any of y'all. It ain't now FBI. It ain't now Congressman. It ain't now one of you white folks didn't even come close to the test we passed. And remember, you was putting that test on us, and you're a big, giant monster sitting on little old us, and we passed the test with flying colors. You don't even have anybody that passed. They don't pass. They don't pass. You get into Congress, you give them a boy or a girl, they be running down. You talking about Republicans? Hey, a few years ago, Republican is on the internet, white man down there. chasing what do they call them boys they have, the young kids they have? In time, chasing them up and down the hallway. Boys chasing. Hey, man, you guys are not, you've been a little hypocritical. No, I'm not here to name call. I'm not here to name call. Y'all know your history. I'm saying we have passed the test. We're not going to get arrogant. We're not going to even take advantage. If we discover some weakness in what you're doing, we're saying you cooperate with us. Just give us our money back, $100 million, and we'll get started. We're going to get started anyway. We're already started. In fact, we've always been working on this project, but today is critical. You've lost your way on everything. You call countries shithole countries. Y'all got a bum up there. Whatever you plan, the Israelis put him in power to destroy you. And he's doing it. Because see, the Zionists feel like the bigger you are, but the weaker you are, the more power they have over you. They want you weak. So look at, you went to destroy Iraq for them. You want to do something to Iran for them, right? You don't like nobody stable in the Middle East, that's they're your flunky, right? For Israelis, not Jews, but these Zionist Israelis. Would you turn the air back on so it's cool a little bit? Oh, I feel a little something coming on here. Anyway, I know y'all a little cold, but the white man do a lot of stuff. I ain't gonna explain it today, but he ain't the friendliest guy in town. Actually, the mean old white man. We don't want to refer to him anymore as the mean old white man. We want to refer to him in friendly terms. He squandered every opportunity. He has. He squandered every opportunity to do good. We have to help him. Do you know that's what this has been all about? Is us passing the test so we can help the bum. We can help him. He needs help. You got to think about it now. He deserves, you're supposed to feel sorry for him. He's killing everybody and doing anything, but he's the one that's hurting bad. He hurting real bad, and since he hurt real bad, he try to make sure you get some hurt too, you know. But why don't he do good? Because why don't you have some of the things that the world have to offer? Because he feels insecure. If you have some, it's only so much, so I'll have less, right? Or if you have a pretty house, your house might be bigger than mine. So my wife and kids may be looking over at your house. You know, we was kind of mean when we was younger. Them big pretty Cadillacs, you know, a white man driving with an old station wagon and his kids, we drive up next to him and look at the car, look at his wife, look at him, and look at that old car. They knew what we were saying. Look at this old raggedy car. Boy, them white folks would be, it was kind of mean, but we were immature ourselves. So we thought we were just fixing him. Or even a big white man with a big car, our car would be bigger than his. Because he'd have a sedan DeVille, we'd have a Brougham, it's different. Oh, it's a big difference. And they know it, we know it too. They're all Cadillacs, but they got some that's for real and they got others that need help. You know, there's a difference between a sedan DeVille. It's got 4 doors just like the Brougham, but it's different. Yes, indeed. And we look at that, and them rich white folks will say, Look at them niggers. Look at them niggas. And they feel that way, like, who are they? I have a friend, my brother used to play baseball, one of his best friends. All his friends played ball. Joe Morgan, them, Rudy May, them, all them, Will Stargell, they was all right there in the same block. They was all, we was all right there, one in Brookfield. They was all they played, we knew all of them. They all, cause they was my brother's friends, and so one day Joe, his car was down at the car place. So he was playing in Houston or somewhere at that time. Did he play down in Houston? Joe Morgan. But anyway, at that time he might have been down in Houston. He was telling me how white folks loved him. So I took him down to pick up his car. So I had Hank reams on my car, and I had this big stuff on it. He was mad, he was burning up. Who are you? You just a standard nigger. And your car is bigger and prettier than mine. I have a little old raggedy Eldorado, and you have this big, roomy, big, beautiful car. I said, shoot, that ain't nothing. I got 4, 5 of these here, you know. I got convertibles, you know what I mean? I got So imagine white people. This is those days, but even now, see, here's the thing. You can bring the good out, you can have a system that brings good out of people, that elevate good, that make good the style, the fashion, everything. That will carry the day. So that means that 70% of the people usually gonna go with you, with that, a good system. Or you can have a bad system. And a bad system give the district attorney all this power and everything, right? And they use it to beat people to death with. Why? Because they're afraid of you. The people are afraid right now. So goes California, so goes America. California now is a majority minority state. That means the majority of the people are minorities. All kind of people, but the majority, that means white folks is not the majority anymore. That flip over is coming fast. It's coming real fast. Okay, that's not the reason we want to do right or the system to do right. We want the system. We can develop a system that can feed everybody, right, with ease. That everybody can have a reasonable home. Don't have to be homeless. Everybody can here's the thing. I told the police before, several years ago when I went down there, the FBI, I said, I don't want to live in the world y'all creating. I say, I always put global lockdown. Global lockdown means like the world you're developing ain't gonna be no freedom. It ain't gonna be no fun for nobody. And the people that have all the money, which y'all fixing it up for them to get all the money, they're not gonna be happy because they're gonna be scared that all their time they go by me and you, right, or fly over us or whatever they try to do to stay away from us, they're gonna be thinking that they're gonna take my money from me. And I told them, this is even before the 99%, I said, if you got 100 people in a town, right, and one man got more money than all the other 99 people in the town, what the hell you think they're gonna do every time they walk by your house? They're gonna be saying, shoot, if we go up and take his house and all the money he got, Well, all of us will be modestly wealthy because he got more money than all of us put together, right? Okay, look at the world now. What are they setting up? They're giving all the big money to all the big companies, and they're giving the poor people a few crumbs. But it don't make no difference. The money they give you, where you going? You're going to Giant, Safeway, all the big companies. What about the little places? Ain't nobody going to them. Even they didn't open up, the people still not going to them. So what are they doing? They're transferring the wealth from one group of people to the other. And it's all that transfer and the printing of money, spreading of money is going up. The banks can get money for free and loan it to you and charge us 21% credit card. 15%. That's loan sharking. They get the money free. And some money they don't have to pay back. Right? Some money they don't have to pay back. They transferring the money. We'll all be a part of one big company pretty soon. I know y'all don't remember this, 16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. Say, Peter, don't call me because I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. That's the old Miners song. Tennessee Ernie Ford. I think you can find it there. Anyway, they used to have a company store in all the mining towns. They don't pay you enough money to eat for the whole thing, right? So you go to the company store and you say, I need some molasses and some syrup and I need some biscuits and all of that. And you get all of that from the company store. You die with black lung and no dime in your pocket. Right now, Americans in debt. I don't want to go over this. I'm going to get back to it because decriminalize drugs, remove the reason for Gestapo tactics of a citizen. We say, system, you've lost your way. They have lost their way. Shithole countries. No, the guy is so, huh? Look, and he talks so bad. Look, it don't make no difference. And then the other white folks, they bad as he is, but he's destroying the country and got the world laughing at it. They hired him to be a buffoon, and he's earning every dime. He really is earning every dime. Yesterday they had to rally down there, remember? And didn't nobody show up. Well, I mean, a few people showed up, and he blamed it on everybody. We're going to have 1 million people here. People are going to be standing in line. And they showed the picture of the bleachers. It wasn't nobody up there hardly. I said, shoot. And they showed the Negroes, they was full of the street, everywhere. Okay. This is insanity. But that's what we prayed for. I don't have no complaints. Oh Allah, send down buffoonery on the people and make fun of them and just do all of that. Right? I asked for it. Everybody was here, I asked for that. That's what I asked. Hey, fine. See, but when Allah make a fool out of you, you are a clear-cut fool. It ain't like, we just clowning around and we a partial fool and you know what I mean? But when Allah make a fool out of you, you ain't got no get back. It ain't no comeback. It ain't no nothing. You just a damn fool, right? You the biggest fool since Leatherhead, and that's it. Okay, let's go and hurry up. Save your democracy by being a democracy. We already said that. This is a game changer. justice, repentance, global cleanup. Historical headline. This historical headline here. When the world needed her, she answered the call. America the good. Don't that sound nice? That'll be it. They can choose that. They can actually do that. You know where America brag, they be lying about everything. They can actually do that. I think that's what's going to happen. The world at the stage that, however this happened, they're going to have to be that. And we get a chance to help them. I don't think we have a whole lot of time just to do a masjid here. It don't seem like that. It may be. We're going to do that. But this thing sounds urgent. It looks urgent. So what do we say? I'm tired of people calling here talking about, oh, we just got to do this. And then next day you don't hear from them for I don't know when. Family members, everything. You know the stuff with Iran? You just got to, can't get people off the phone, right? Call them, they answer right back, right? So I call now, I don't get an answer. You know, I expected that. I expected what happened with our nephew. I expected all of it. That's what I told him yesterday on the phone. I said, the stuff that you sound like, I said, only the white man can do that, only the Americans. He's now supposed to have got some viral hits on something or other, so he's super popular, and he's now moving to a spokesman for all of this stuff. Spokesman. Sometimes you feel like saying, if you so bad, Cracker, then do this. Sometimes if I was saying stuff like that, I said, all right, you got all them niggas, have them fix the world, they so bad. You got all them niggas wear scarves and do all that stuff, gaps in their teeth. You so bad, get them niggas to fix it. Yeah. Get them niggas to fix it. They can't do it. Your puppets can't do it. You didn't train them to do that. Right? They're just not trained to do that. Oh yeah? You can have people jumping up and down about Abdul Malik. Then what? Get them. I bet you they can't do nothing. They can't do nothing because you haven't trained them, and you haven't gave them the teamwork, right? And you haven't gave them the da 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 da. We're saying you take all of that and put those behind people that know what they mean, that they're not going to abuse. We not Al Sharpton. We not Jesse Jackson. We not Preacher Rowe and all them people. You know, we're just not them. We know when we're alive, and we know what needs to happen. So, you don't have to worry about us. The last thing I'm going to say, so we have to rebuild the world that the system has destroyed. They destroyed Iraq. They had dual containment, Iran and Iraq, for 8 years fighting each other. Then after that was over, they just attacked Iraq, the one they was holding up. It's so ridiculous, you know what I mean? And people stole right along like, oh, that's no big deal. It is a big deal. We have to they done destroyed those countries. We have to rebuild them. Okay. Dual containment. Afghanistan, 2001. They haven't got out yet. That's 19 years ago. After 9/11, they strolled over there. And they ain't home yet. And the people ain't letting them go. You could hear them, please let us go. We just give you what you want. You just gotta let us go home. Oh no, you want to be here? Boss man, you like Afghanistan? You like all these rocks? We used to them rocks. You staying here with us. We ain't giving you nothing. Look at what they do. Every time they say we're gonna have a little something or other, they blow up something. It's not accidental every time they do it. They do it. They actually, yeah. Well, no, them niggas over there did that, boss man. We ain't did it. It just looked like us. They got beards like us. They got all that funny clothes. They did it. But we know there they are, right? It don't make no difference when they try to leave. You can't leave, boss man. You wanted to be here. You came over here talking trash. Yeah, I'll be back home next week. You staying. That's not what they're actually saying, but history does that. History locks you in. History blocks you in. This is the everything that's happening to the United States now has evolved from the historical realities. Other people are doing, they making the people do it to them. They making the people become friends. Venezuela, Iran, Russia, China. They're gonna make them have an economy. That's why we say America, while this stuff is big, they ought to go over and fix it now, while a dollar's worth something. Okay, we'll move to, so Desert Storm, 91. Rise up, as the Shias. They let Saddam keep his helicopters and stuff. He couldn't fight the Americans, but he killed all the Shias, which he did. 2003, he rose on Iraq, and he still can't get out. They putting him out. And the people, the dual containment, there ain't no dual containment. Look how Allah worked. Iran and Iraq are the best friends. And they had them fighting each other, right? Hey, yeah. Yep, okay. What else before we close? Target Iran. Chain of command. Save Earth first, human, land, animal. Yeah, save Earth. We're back to Earth first, but human, land, and animals. It's all, we got to do that. We want America to play that part. To tell you the truth, they might be getting close to the point of no return, you know, on the earth. Inertia, the build-up, you know. Now, don't worry about it. The earth, you know, the earth been here 4.5 billion years, so there ain't nothing you can do to it. Because if you mess up bad, they just finish you off for 1 million years and leave 3 or 4 around to replenish. You know, and the earth is just, you know, the earth is going to be here. It said another 4.5 billion years. You know, that's 9 billion years in all before and 4.5 after. So that's just what they say. So you know how long that is? That you can do anything there you want. It's still going to fix itself back up. Right? It's still going to fix itself back. But what about the Khalifa? Do we want to do the job that Allah put us here for? That's not an easy job. It's fun, but it ain't easy. You think about it. We have to straighten out the worst behaved monster in human history. Worse than the Romans? Yes. Probably about bad as Genghis Khan and them kind of people. You know, they wasn't a lot of fun to be around. But that's who we're living with right now. We're living with the cruelest escape artist in history. Because from before, he was able to escape his wrong by, we're a democracy, we love people. Then the world is saying, you know, the world is really just, you would think they got to be crazy not to see what we've been dealing with. But you know, all of a sudden, it seems like the whole world realized, why, the United States has been the bad all along. you know. And guess what? They've been killing those poor Negroes. Now, everybody knows what's been going on. But even inside, just think about it. It seemed like everybody just woke up and said, that's really bad. We've been lynched and burned since we've been here. But all of a sudden now, everybody's saying, you know what? We're being lynched and burned, right? And the world is, they looking at us, they with us. Hey, we pray that we make the opportunity. I'm going to move toward a close. And excuse me for not putting this in order, but I didn't want to put it in order. I just wanted to get it said. Are there any questions or comments? Anything on the line there?
Well, some of the brothers were just saying, they gave me a salam. The brother said, love from Pakistan. As-Sabiqun. That was one brother. But the other ones were just, brothers coming in saying, mashallah, things like that.
Mm. Okay. Huh?
I said the reason I was late, one, there was a fire on the train, and then taking the shuttle, they had some protesters that must have laid on the bridge over there on the 3rd Street tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Some protesters must, so they had the whole downtown blocked off because of these protests.
Okay. Well, we'll head back tomorrow. Inshallah. We just go to our same spot, and then if we need to drive around to catch somebody. Huh? Right. But it seemed like the demonstrations are back a little bit.
I think what Juneteenth kind of, sparked some, but it seems like people now are coming out for their own particular demands. So I think Saturday had like 4 or 5 different groups that were protesting, like when it was teachers.
Right. Well, we have to stay on what we're on. So that means we're the only ones that's talking about fixing the whole thing. That's too old, it's too out of date. Okay, so is that about it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, no questions, no comments? Okay, thank you very much. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, this thing on the